Good morning, students. Welcome to the virtual classrooms. We are studying the chemical bonding. We studied it about the ionic and covalent bond. Now, in the covalent bond, we studied some of the properties. We studied Lewis dot structure. We also studied related to the uh, certain concepts like bond length, bond order, octet rule. Right? Today, similarly, we will be studying it as another property of it, and that is known as resonance. Now, what is the meaning of resonance? When we want to define the resonance, resonance is defined as when a compound cannot be explained by a single Lewis dot structure. To explain the properties of the compound, we need it as more than one structure. Then such structures that we are plotting it are considered to be as a resonating structures. So resonance means the property of the compound which cannot be explained by single Lewis dot structure. It can be explained by more than one structure. Then such structures are known as resonating structures or they are known as resonating structures or canonical structures, and the property is known as resonance. Let's see it as an example for O3 as it is given in our textbook. See what is the structure of it. Ozone, when I am putting it, I am having it as one electron pair that is shared between the oxygen, whereas the another oxygen, it's having it as a single bond. That means we are going to get the structure of the ozone in the form of one as a double bond, one as a single bond. There are two lone pairs for one oxygen, three lone pairs for the another one, and the one is having a single lone pair. Right? Now, this property, what I want to explain from it? I want to show it that when you are having it as an oxygen, single bonded with oxygen, its bond length is 154 picometer. Double bond, if you are having it, it should have 121 picometer as a bond length. Right? But when you are going it, oxygen, single bonded oxygen or double bonded, it should means that this one should be 154, this one should be 121 picometer. But it is founded by the X-ray analysis that both of them are 128 picometer. In the ozone molecule, the bond length is founded to be as a 128. Now why this change is there? Why do these changes seem that there is a difference in the bond length? So to explain that one, it is given out as, it's having it as a resonating structure in which once the oxygen was having it as a double bond between these two, it becomes single bond, and the single bond becomes double bond. That means we are getting the resonating structure as between the oxygen molecule. As a result, these two are considered to be as a resonating structures of the compound. Right? Here the property we saw it as an for the bond length. We will have another example also. Let's see it as an example of benzene. What are the properties that we want to explain by the resonating structures? Like now for the benzene, we are having it as an alternate double bond. When we want to plot its resonating structure, we want to show it that the double bond was between these two carbon. Over there it's a single bond. That means we are showing the resonating structure of the benzene in the form of the dotted structure. Now why we want to show it, this type of resonating structure? Why it became that by a single structure benzene cannot be explained? Why benzene needed two structures to explain? So for that case, we are having two properties. The first property that we want to explain, that is C single bond C, it should be 154 picometer. C double bond C, it should be C double bond C, you will be having it as the bond length equals to 134 picometer. But it was founded that for benzene, C single bond C or C double bond C was having it as 139 picometer. Now why this change is there? So same thing is explained, that these double bond are continuously interchanging their positions. So once the double bond is becoming single and single is becoming double bond, so continuously expanding and contracting of the double bond and single bond into a certain positions, from 154 to 134, 134 to 154, continuously interchanging, made it to have an average resonating length as 139 picometer. Similarly, not only the bond length, we got it as a second property, that is, if one double bond is broken out, hydrogenation of one double bond to single bond, it produces energy, right? Particularly for cyclohexene, when you are having it as a single bond H2, it gets converted into cyclohexane, plus it releases 28.6 kilocalorie of energy. This much amount of the energy is released. So if I am having it as a suppose double bond present in it, if I am having it as a double bond to double bond, that means I should have it as 57.2. I know it that benzene is having 3. So if this compound, benzene, is taking it for the hydrolysis, H2, it will be having it as a 3H2. That means 3 into 28.6, that is 85.8 kilocalorie of the energy should be released. This much amount of the energy should be released. But in actual, we are getting it as only 49.8. That means 36 kilocalorie of energy is less. Now why this amount of the energy is decreased? Where is this amount of the energy being utilized? So it was founded that this energy is utilized for resonance, and so such structures are being explained. Which compound? Okay, now this was the reason why resonating structures are being explained. Now, which structure can show me the resonance? So for that case, the first condition required for showing the resonance is they should have cyclic alternate double bond. Those compounds which are cyclic, having alternate double bonds, right? They can show me. This is the first one, condition. Second condition, simply alternate double bond containing compounds. Third condition is double bonded atom attached with atom having lone pair of electron. Then such compounds can show us resonating structures. So these are the conditions where you can say that the resonating structures are possible. Okay, going to the, this was the another property. Going to the next property, and that is polarity. Now, polarity, that we have already understood it as, we know it that there should be some partially positive or partially negative charge containing atoms. When the electronegativity difference is there, we get it as polar covalent bond. We already understood it in the previous topics also. So, that polarity, that is the atoms when they are having an high electronegativity difference and showing an partially positive or partially negative, the covalent bonded atoms having high electronegativity difference produces partially positive and partially negative charge on the atoms. Then such bonds are known as polar covalent bond and charge is known as polarity, which is measured in mu, dipole moment. It's measured as mu, that is dipole moment. Now, which compound will be a polar and which one will be a non-polar? How can we recognize it? Because certain compounds are there who are having it as a polar covalent bond, but overall molecule is non-polar. Like example, let's check BeCl2. Now when we are having it as an BeCl2, we are having it as a linear bond. The bond is polar. We know that the partially positive charge is there onto the B and negative charge on the Cl. That means the electron is more shifted towards the chlorine atom. So this compound being in linear and both of them are pulling towards the opposite direction, its dipole value is found to be 0. Though the compound is polar, overall molecule is non-polar. Similarly, when we are having it as an BeCl3, now in this case, the structure we are going to get it, it's going to be as an partially negative towards the chlorine. That means it's pulling in the opposite direction. According to the physics, you know it that sum of the vector quantity of the two is equals to the third one. Here we are having it as a planar covalent structure in the opposite direction. So this compound is also having it as a mu value equals to 0 because they are pulling it in the opposite direction. Particularly for this, if we take it as an example and we want to take it as in question format, then which of the following compound has maximum dipole value. That is, the compounds are given to you: CH4, CH3Cl, CHCl2, CH2Cl2. The next one we are having, it is a CCl3, CHCl3, CCl4. Now, checking these compounds. Actually, the structures are plotted for you right from the beginning. In the exam, they might not give you the structures, or that is sure that they are not going to give you the structures. Structures you have to do it by yourself. Now, to find out which one will have a maximum polarity, unless and until structures are not there, it's difficult to find out the answer. Right? First of all, let's check what will be the polarity, where the polarity will be across which atom. Right? We will be having it as a hydrogen being in less electronegative compared to that of the carbon. So electron is going to be towards it. But at the same time, we know it that the electronegativity difference between these two, it's almost zero. So we consider it to be as a non-polar. CH bond is non-polar. Therefore, we can say it now, CH bond being a non-polar, what we can say that CH4 is non-polar compound. Right? Now this was about the CH4. Now think it for this. In that case, you will get it as first polar bond. You can say that CCl is a polar bond. Now, when you are having CCl bond as a polar bond, this one is a polar bond. You got it as only one polar. This one will have an partially positive, partially negative charge. Now, if I go it for this partially positive, this one will be partially negative, partially negative, partially positive. Here, you are going to get it in the opposite direction, partially negative, partially negative, partially negative, and this one is going to be a polar. This one, you are going to get it as an all in the opposite direction. So from this, can I say that the CCl4, 4CCl bond is in opposite directions? Therefore, CCl4 is non-polar because all the bonds are in the opposite directions. So CCl4, it's a least polar. Now if I go it for CHCl3 and CH3Cl2, it shows that one of the bond is going to reduce its polarity but not completely, whereas this one is having it as only one polar bond. So the polarity of this compound will be comparatively more than this. So if I want to write it, the order I will be writing it as CCl4 is less polar than CH3Cl, which is less polar than CHCl3, but CH2Cl2, it's a maximum polar, right? Because both these are in the opposite, they are not opposite to one another, so their polarity is not cancelled out. Here somewhat polarity is cancelled, so some is left out. So here we are having already polar, but these are the two polar bonds, so we get it as CH2Cl2 as a maximum polar. Okay, similarly, one more question that is repeatedly been asked in an exam in the form of give reason. NH3 has nitrogen with more positive dipole, then NF3, where nitrogen is with negative dipole. Why? Right? Okay. That means here you are possible to ask NH3 is more electronegative than NF3. That is the one possible question. Second thing, nitrogen of NH3 is positively dipole while NF3 is negatively dipole. Why? Why dipole value of NF3 is less than that of the NH3? Any of the way the questions can be framed. Answer we are going to get it is, when you are plotting it as a nitrogen NH3, you are having it as a planar structure. Nitrogen is more electronegative than hydrogen. Therefore, your electron will be more towards nitrogen. So nitrogen is negative. Sorry, here I made it as a mistake. Minus plus. Right? Well, just a question error that was there. It should be nitrogen is negative and for NF3 it's a positive. You will get the answer over here. Nitrogen is negative. The reason is electrons are more towards the nitrogen. NH3 is negative dipole, whereas hydrogen is positive. So this means you are going to get it as a plus charge dipole. And all the dipole is towards the nitrogen. So nothing is cancelled out. Whereas in case of NF3, nitrogen is less electronegative than fluorine. Therefore, nitrogen is positive and fluorine is negatively charged. So all the electrons, they are moving it in the towards the fluorine and in a opposite direction. So here certain amount of the fluorine will nullify its effect. Dipole value will be cancelled out. So NF has less than that of NH. Right? And that's the reason why we can say that NF3 it's a negative, NH3 is negative, NF3 is positive, or NH3 is having higher dipole than NF3. Right? So these questions will be there as an important for us. Right? For today we studied again two of the properties, resonance and polarity. Another properties are there like valence bond theory or VSEPR theory, which we will see it in our next lecture. Thank you.